Hi everyone, and welcome to the Omakase Show webinar series. My name is Wawa or Oana. I'm host of this series, and for those of you who are not familiar with the Omakase Show, it's a show where we showcase digital artists and some founders in the space. And today I also have an amazing guest, but before we start, I will just share my screen and remind you that you can go to our profile on X and support us by sending a donation in Ethereum. This is the first part, and the second part is that we are organizing an event in London in the end of November around AI art. You can go just to my profile on X and register via the Luma link in here, and I would be super happy to see you. And so today here with us, I have Adriana, an amazing artist, fashion illustrator who worked with Karl Lagerfeld, Oscar De La Renta, and many more. She's currently working on her music videos, so not only drawing, but also singing, talented in a lot of ways. So thank you so much for joining. Can you tell us more about yourself and what do you do and how you got where you are now?
Yes, thank you so much, Alana, for having me. Always nice to catch up, also online. Well, long story short, I'm an art director and fashion artist. I've been in the fashion industry, luxury beauty space for over a decade. It started with me graduating from London College of Fashion from a bachelor's in fashion illustration, and as obviously I was learning more about the industry and honing obviously the skills as a traditional fashion illustrator, I was always very keen on, in general, about like storytelling in the fashion perspective. So for brands and like how do we implement a creative direction for a narrative in campaigns. So this is kind of like where I basically also ventured out. So fashion illustration is obviously a huge core of my work and what I do as an artist that shaped me, but that didn't stop me because I'm very interested always in innovation and like what's the next thing. So obviously the industry I'm in is like really pushed me towards that as well. So this is why I also do production and creative direction, and I love to apply it as obviously for myself as my music side, which is not maybe in the prominent spotlight, but it's definitely gonna get a little bit of my showcase coming up the next year. So yeah, but mainly the thing what fascinates me as an artist and a visual artist is like that my biggest passion is basically visual storytelling. I would say that.
Yeah, and so the next question is like two parts. In general, it's super hard and known to be hard to get into fashion industry. So how you manage to do it? And another part is this um, fashion has a really specific storytelling, and I feel like you also implement it through your art. So can you tell us how this interaction works for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is tough. It was a definitely a long journey to be where I am, and it never stops. I would say that it's like I think it's very important to just be aware and like again like keeping up with the trends and just like seeing what's going on. Like I really ventured into like NFTs and Web3 3 years ago because I thought that was a very interesting move as well, considering fashion where it's heading, digital fashion. So, and AI now is a big part of where I'm at. Is a part of my creative and professional process as well. From this, where when it comes to like visual practice, obviously. So yeah, it was a lot of hustle. Obviously, I was a student at LCF, so that was a major jumping point, starting point. But I have to just also, I always say that this is not a guarantee of success just because you went to UAL or a Fashion Institute in New York. Like, oh my God, so sorry. I apologize for that. So again, this is not a guarantee of success, just graduating from a university, because I was doing loads of internships when I was a student. I was hustling nonstop and I never stopped, honestly, since then. It's always a hustle. And also, it's like you have to be really dedicated and passionate about this, I guess. Like, because otherwise, it's going to be a lot of hard ups and downs in this industry. I've dealt with Devil Wears Prada moments, tough bosses, but one thing that really kept me going is it's like like the passion for storytelling, basically, right? So it gets once you I feel like what's important is obviously once you get like a few major brands in your portfolio, obviously is one-to-one, is like it sort of gets better and easier. So I would say it's important to get that experience. Definitely, it's hard to get it once, but once you get it, it's always making the doors opening and opening for the next one. So in my case, obviously, it started off as a graphic design positions, but also it's like for me the major turning points were my live illustrations, obviously sessions where I'm a live illustrator. I go to the event and I draw people live, or like events or a showcase and fashion show. So that was like me opening the doors for myself, I would say. Yeah. I'm sure if I missed the question, but like I was like that was the beginning of the journey, right? And then I wasn't sure if there was something else we were talking about. There was another question you asked.
So yeah, I just wanted to let our audience know, this is for me is like the most remarkable fact about you, is that you were doing an illustration in real life of this actor from a Gossip Girl.
Oh,
Exactly, it's like such a milestone.
it was a milestone, yeah. I mean,
And
and that's something like it was also incredible because I didn't expect that to happen. It was a show at the Guess, at a private event at Guess in London, and I was aware. I mean, I've drawn a lot of influencers in fashion, people like who are like well known, let's say in the fashion industry. It's a small circle, but like that was like a global, definitely spotlight, and it was Ed Westwick, the actor who I drew, and when he stood in front of me, it was absolute insanity. But yeah, it was amazing, and so yeah, there's definitely something I'm also preparing for the next year around this, where because I really love talking to people, and that's what I feel maybe really like one of the probably most recognized life illustrators in the world now, because I really really love talking to people. I really am very sociable. I dare to say I'm much better at drawing live than working on like a long-term commission, because it's the magic that happens where there's like a synergy. I talk to a person, I don't have much time to think, I just need to get them really quickly down on paper, and I feel like that's in its own is what creates that magic, if that makes sense. Yeah.
definitely, definitely. I feel like in real life changes everything. And so you've been dropping a lot of hints around this one. And I will just share your Twitter. You're working on a music clip
Yeah.
around AI and music. And you also have a label that is called Burn All the Bridges. And you have a cap too. Like, here it is. So yeah, what is happening? What is it about? Just tell us everything.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's a lot to tell. So this is like my major baby of this year, I would say. It's my biggest passion project and career momentum when it comes to like achieving something this year for myself as a challenge. So Burn All the Bridges is actually the title of the single I'm gonna release next year, and I build a whole kind of Web3 structure around it. So it's not necessarily a brand or a label, it's more of a title of the holistic project, which obviously includes the digital caps that I was giving out over at the conferences, and they are all NFC chipped, and obviously they have integration of the NFC in it with the supported by Web3 and uniquely. So all these caps that I've given out, people were able to, the holders, to mint them, and that's how they kind of fell into my community of like actual holders of the physical products. And that gave me an amazing opportunity to like build a global audience that was a little bit more connected with me directly. So now they have like extra perks of like next steps, which was in that case was joining my Telegram group, which is only for people who are holders. They had an access to see the actual more behind the scenes of the video footage that we were shooting a couple weeks ago. And they will now have like also another big perk, which is about co-creation, because I was thinking like, what can I give them as an artist working on something new? They will be also having an insight of co-creations of my AI music video, certain like prompts. So basically I will give them options to like choose from, like, hey, do you like this prompt more or this one? Which one do you prefer to go into videos? We'll have like an actual say in the production, which I feel like it's an interesting process for me as an artist, because I want them to feel that they are part of my manifesto, basically. And the bridge, Burn on the Bridges, is, as I said, it's a song originally, which I wrote January last year. It was actually just before I really fully started to immerse myself in the Web3 and digital fashion space. And I was just after a breakup really hardcore with a narcissist. So that's another story, but I'm really over it now. But that was like a prompt for me, because I was really heartbroken. And I was like, I realized that I need to burn a lot of bridges fully and never look back in order to move forward with my life. So it was like, I wrote this song for myself as a kind of motivation to like, hey, go on these conferences, go meet these people. And like literally that really helped me to heal my wounds, the Web3 community. And I know it sounds very like cheesy, but it's really true. Like if it wasn't for Web3 community, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. And emotionally speaking, like really healed and really strong. And like, because all the people who I met were giving me this like power of like pushing forward. And obviously a lot of people in Web3 are innovators. So I was like, yes, we need to look forward. We need to like see what's next, what we can do next better, and burn bridges with the past in order to build the future. So I guess this is like the manifesto that is like, again, an umbrella of a lot of concepts in it, because yes, there's artistry, there's music, there's vision, there's obviously I would say encouragement, almost I would say like a mental health, almost message. But the major part obviously is like the AI aspect, which I haven't really touched on. So just long story short, it's not my first music video I've ever produced. I've done many of them before, and I really love doing music videos and fashion films. It's like a huge passion of mine. But I always wanted to do something innovative for each video. So last video, it was actually an integration of my NFT work that was in the video that appeared. This is actually a much bigger step, because as I got a lot into AI from a creative perspective, from like being an artist, and I had some work already exhibited as an AI artist. I worked already a couple campaigns using AI as well for fashion brands and beauty brands. I was like, okay, I want to push it further and see how we can integrate AI into the real footage production. So we shot the actual footage, which is obviously the traditional filmmaking and camera, like all the like traditional photo shoot, basically, right? Photo shoot with mixed with video. But now I'm at the stage where I'm integrating AI. So it's going to be a mixture of prompts I'm doing based on the footage that we've done, because obviously we need to be careful with the open source. And this is like all my, is based on all my material I've done and on my face. So everything's integrated from like the point of like, I own the copyrights and I'm just using AI now based on original footage I've done. The prompts are going to be then later integrated within the footage that already also exists. So it's not just going to be fully AI generated, because I think it would not look strong if it was just fully AI. But I just want to showcase how certain parts of AI can replace versus CGI, or like versus 3D animations. So this is going to be very experimental for me. It's a completely new process as a creative director, but I am really passionate about this. I've always been interested in mixed media and pushing innovation in technology. So I believe this is going to be an outcome that, as a video, can be a perfect example for brands in the future and artists as well, how AI can enhance traditional production. It's not about taking what's better or worse, because traditional photography and traditional filmmaking is going to be still here, but AI can help with a lot of amazing outcomes, which is like integrating certain aspects of AI into production. So this is, in a nutshell, what I'm working on now. And yeah, everyone's asking me when you can see it, when it's going to be out. So it's like, because I'm planning a bigger vision around this, I don't want to just drop the video and forget about this. I want to have an event with this, and media partnership with Red Eyes coming up. So essentially, and also post-production is taking time. So we're planning to probably launch it around February next year. So like it's still in process. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. This was actually my next question when it's out, but I just wanted to share again my screen and basically to show our audience how many of those you did previously. Obviously, I'm not sure if all of them are clips, but this is your Spotify,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah. You did a
What's
good research. Thank you. I really see your friend. Yeah.
and so yeah, you also have a shiny dress here, which is like the most recent one, right?
Yes, exactly. So the shiny dress was the last one I did, and it was my debut as a filmmaker, as sorry, as a film director. Because before it was only as an art director and illustrator, and I mean, and also obviously the producers and artist. But and shiny dress was this like first NFT integration, sort of like having my artwork that was appearing there was the where the NFTs you could purchase. So it was like, you know, it's a step by step process. And yeah, and again, music is not maybe the necessarily the major spotlight of what I create. It's a huge part of me, but it's not been really the commercial focus me as an artist. That makes sense, because like music is my passion. It's more of a something that fulfills me as an artist, as a creative, but I didn't focus on it as in my career in terms of like professionally speaking, because I chose the path with fashion and creative direction in my arts, and the music is obviously a huge part of it, but it's more of like implementing it into what I do professionally. If that makes sense. Yes.
Definitely. And if we are talking about shiny dress, how long it took you to create it? Because I feel like you're putting a lot into your next single, Burn Those Bridges. And shiny dress, I think it was also like quite complicated because I watched the clip before the webinar. It would just be a lot of mess to show it right now, but
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, just tell us more and how long it took you to create it.
yeah. So it was actually really like efficient production for some reason, even though it was like probably definitely it's very vibrant and it's very exciting, like exotic, because it was shot in Mexico actually with the Mexican team. And because I wanted to take advantage of me being there, and I thought it was very different and new and fresh, and I just want to showcase a story of like Mexican experience but through my eyes as a European living there. So I feel like it's a nice blend of like me taking my experience I've had in London as a, you know, artist and creative director, implementing it to like this Mexican culture. But I also wanted to make sure that Mexican references were very real and genuine. So I didn't want to make anything too like I want to make sure basically that there's an integrity and how do you say, it's all genuine, if that makes sense, really, from Mexican cultural references, right? So it was obviously it always starts with a mood board and a storyboard. I wrote the song. It's funny. Okay, the song was actually written 2 years before that. It wasn't like the song was written earlier, and then when I was in Mexico, I was like, oh my god, that shiny dress energy could work so well with this colorful Mexican storytelling. So that's what. And then obviously there's a motive of the bruja and like the Katrina, which is the obviously the lady's the lady who's the dead lady we all dress up as in Halloween, basically. So I felt like it's an interesting twist to the story. And yeah, it was just so pleasant to work with these people there, and everyone's so dedicated. It was during COVID as well. So I think in that way I was quite lucky, because obviously people weren't as super busy in normal times. So obviously there was less film production going on in the COVID time. So that made it easier, obviously. We shot everything in one day, which was absolute insanity, because it was like 4 locations and a lot of no, even more, I think, because it was in a city, in a studio, it was in the flat. So it was a lot of locations that day, but it was so much fun. It was just such a great day. And oh, and the museum as well, with an artist. Like, yeah, it was 5 locations at least. It was crazy.
Wow.
One day very productive, and then obviously the post production. But in that case, it's a bit easier when it comes to post production, because, as I said, it was just the editor who took the footage and edited, right? And obviously I was looking over it, but with the Burn on the Bridges is a completely different process, because I'm responsible for generating AI, and that's going to be implemented into the production of editing. So that already makes it longer and easier, longer as a more complex post production already, because AI is being implemented into the footage, whereas Shiny Dress is like traditional, just filming it and editing it in a traditional way. So that's definitely like a huge difference, and that's what Burn the Bridges obviously is making more challenging in that regard. But hey, I mean, I'm still here for the challenge, you know. So let's make something different and hopefully better as well, right?
Definitely, definitely. I want to also talk about illustration. I'm the biggest fan, to be honest. Like, I love illustrations. It gives me like all this Art Deco vibes. And so I will just share your foundation just to give an understanding on around your works. And so, can you tell us a little bit about the creative process? It's obviously quite figurative. You have a lot of feminine figures here. And so while you work with this medium, are those commissions or just something you feel like you want to create? Yes, so tell us more.
Mhm. Yeah, so I love that you said Art Deco because definitely this is like my huge inspiration. Art Deco is like, and Tamara Wempiska is like my probably favorite female artist, and not only as a visual artist but also as a, I mean, she was very controversial, but she was a badass woman, and she was really focused obviously on portraits. So as I said, live illustration made me sort of, it's funny because my style before that, life illustration really came to my life, was so detailed and like very complex, and it would take me a few days to finish one piece, whereas life illustration helped me to make myself free as a terms of like my style, because like I don't have much time to draw someone. Like when I'm at a live event, I have like I am very fast. Obviously it took me years to get to that level when I can draw someone in 5 minutes, but it's really what developed my style. So I basically have references as well from like expressionists in Germany. Like the expressionist paintings were very vivid, like very almost like in some ways almost like naive, but I feel like that's where the energy coming from. Like you don't think too much, you just get your energy, let it flow for you. So that's how I approach my work, because I feel like me being embracing my, almost I would say like that wild expressive side is much more me versus sitting in, like under one piece, very detailed and very how do you say, photographic, because that's how my style used to be. And then I allow myself to be this like more old school fashion illustration, like very vivid, like very expressive, not realistic at all, very figurative, again because I love people, and tend to I prefer drawing female portraits to actual clothing, if that makes sense, because I just will have to always tell the story of the female. And the women I see, my major inspirations obviously are like fashion editorials, and just like even like what I see on Instagram, like just interesting references like of women influencers, and any energy that I feel is empowering for me as a woman, I like to project it from my art. So I feel like I always hope that the portraits I do are empowering women, especially because I want them to feel beautiful when they look at this picture, especially if I do the live portrait events. I always love that I never draw an ugly person, because there's a fashion illustration. It's not a caricature. It's a huge difference. I try to make someone always feeling like, oh my God, I look at themselves, and they're, because I think I have a gift for, and that's why just also quote from others many times they said, I see people and like I always portray people like, and I bring out the best what I see in them on that piece of paper, and like it's a very quick connection I need to make with someone. So it's almost like an energy work. I just see someone, I feel who they are, and then I try to implement them in the best way on paper or iPad, obviously, because I also draw on iPad. So it's a beautiful process when I see people when they're very happy, when they see themselves and like they feel beautiful. I feel like I make them happy, and it's like a beautiful energy. So when it's not a commission or like a live event, for my personal work, I just try to create work that I want to look at and I feel strong as a woman, sexy, empowered, just like free and owning my life to the fullest. And like what Tamara Wampiska, I think, was doing really brilliantly. So I kind of try to humbly follow her steps in a way. And speaking of art, there's actually a couple of interesting new things that are gonna come next year. Actually, there's like a beginning of it in Miami, Basel this year. Where I'm gonna be integrating also neon quotes, actual physical neons into my artwork now. So to make it even stronger as an impact of like empowerment. So that's coming up. But yeah, I love portraits, and just sharing. I feel like it's important to empower women in that way, not like as of obviously there's so many ways of empowering each other as women and as a female artist, but I feel like that's what I do best when I just portray them in like this sexy manner.
Yeah, I feel you. Like, this is my favorite art story. There was like this painter, Degas, and he was really into movement. He was like illustrating ballerinas, and his commission was like, "I look really ugly on your portrait." And he was like, "If you wanted to look good, you should go to Renoir, because Renoir is like really known for making women look really cute and bluffy, and like and cheekbones are rose." And so I feel like it really depends, like not all the artists have the power to see the beauty in figures, in humans, in animals. So I feel like you're super lucky that you have this vision in your head. um, and so I wanted to ask, what are some technologies or mediums you're currently exploring and like quite excited about?
So yeah, definitely AI, which is already I implemented in my work. I use mainly obviously Midjourney and Runways for video, and Dream Machine, Luma. I think they're like my three go-tos right now. Obviously, if you tried it, like it's not as easy as it seems. Like yes, it's at first you feel like it's very easy, but actually to get the right image with AI, and you still need to require a vision, and also I feel like you need to require like what you want to prompt, if that makes sense, an idea. So I feel like it's still, I really respect a lot of amazing AI artists and like the skill set, because I try to still constantly evolve myself with that. And yeah, I feel like that's would be probably the technology wise the most interesting thing. Obviously there's like so many exciting things you can implement to art. I played a little bit with like also AR and like VR integration onto like my physical artwork, like how that can be implemented if we scan it with like the app, like Vive, Art Vive, stuff like that. So yes, I'm always up for innovation, and I think bearing in mind that if we scratch my AI work, filmmaking, all that stuff, like my fashion illustration itself, it is actually a very old school niche. Like because nobody, it's like fashion illustration was created before photography, right? So for it to exist right now, we don't need in the commercial aspect that much as it rely on it as in the past. If that makes sense, because it was like really necessary to showcase the product that was created for the fashion outfits and designs. But now it's more of like, yes, obviously still fashion designers I think should be able to do fashion illustrations because that's how the ideas were being born. But as an art form, I like to give it this fresh, innovative, like kind of at least for my own self as I work as an artist, like I just want to always make it feel relevant, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm kind of venturing into AI and just like mixed media. But yes, I do love the old school core of me being on the paper and just like doing with my gouache, and there's a huge beauty in that, especially I think in the technology that's like evolving or before us. Like it's still something I'm really proud of, that it took me years to get to the point as a traditional fashion illustrator, and I will never give this up, obviously. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. And so, just to wrap up, the final question would be, you already said it all, but remind us what you're working on right now. What are the upcoming projects we should stay tuned on?
Yes, burn all the bridges, major, obviously live and breathe this this whole year. So obviously I invite you as well to get to my Instagram page where you have the most updates on that. It's Adriana illustration. And there's another account on the same, like you can see it, it's adriana.nft, it's just my AI artwork. So it's kind of interconnected because I basically am using both these days. And I'm going to Miami, Basel in 2 weeks. So there's going to be a very nice showcase I'm a part of with Red Eye Magazine and Nocha. So I'm very much looking forward to this as well. I'm gonna be showcasing a trailer, a teaser. It's gonna be like an exclusive preview for Nocha with Red Eye of Red Baron of the Bridges. So only people who are gonna be at the event will have a glimpse of what's coming up in a couple of months. So I'm very much looking forward to this. There's going to be a couple of live illustration sessions I'm also doing in Miami. So if you get to be there, I definitely say hi. And I think that's like the thing I'm looking forward the most now. I mean, oh yeah, and there's going to be presentation of my first neon artwork with AI. So yeah, it's been a busy time. I'm very much excited. I love Miami as well, so I'm very happy to like be there and showcase my work. There's so many amazing artists there and so many amazing people coming. I mean, I wish you also were coming. Hopefully next time.
Next time.
Yes, and yeah, I think that's. I would say I don't want to go too far from it because like this is the next couple of months, and I just need to. I am embracing this the most at the moment. Yeah.
Sounds perfect. You have an amazing lineup. I can feel your excitement, and I just want to thank you so much for coming, for sharing everything. You're an extremely talented person, and I really appreciated your time for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Roland. I really love being the part of the show. Thank you for highlighting me among a lot of beautiful artists you as well showcase. So it's very important that we, support each other, I think. So yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. So thank you so much. And I will see everyone next week.
Yes. Take care. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.